Okay, guys, so the practice for this is on Delta Math. So go to Delta Math and Cycle K Phase 11. And there's a bunch of practice. So we're going to use geometry to evaluate these integrals, because what a definite integral means is the area under the curve. And from the last video, we know that the area under the curve in this context means the sum of the areas formed by the graph and the x-axis. And sometimes the graph will be above, sometimes it'll be below, and that will make the areas, the individual areas, positive or negative. So given this function at left, find the integral from 2 to 17 of f of x using geometry. Okay, so let's find the shape. Okay, so first make sure that make sure that these boxes don't represent 2 or 3, figure out what the scale is, I guess. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are, every box is one by one. All right, so this is 2, and then that's 17. So what we're doing is we're finding this area. Okay, so we've got to find all of this area. And the way that you do it is you recognize shapes that you already know the areas of. So you could do this a lot of different ways, guys. But I am noticing that if I draw this horizontal line, then to get this total area, which will be the value of this integral, I just need to do the area of this triangle, the area of this big long rectangle, and the area of this semicircle. So, so for the triangle, so it's going to be 1/2 base times height. So the base is 1, 2, 3, 4. And the height is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. Okay, plus. And now for the rectangle, it's just going to be base times height. So the height I know is 2. And then the base from 2 to 17 is 15. Plus, the area of a full circle is pi r squared, but this is a semicircle, so you've got to cut it in half. So it's going to be pi r squared over 2. And the radius, so this would be the center. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then, so then I'll just go like this, and I'll say the integral from x equals 2 to 17 f of x equals, and then I already did this in my calculator. Actually, let me see if I'm right. Okay, yep, it's 4. I'm going to leave it in terms of pi, but it doesn't say. So you could get a decimal if you want, but you would need at least 3 decimal places if you're going to do that. Okay, now, and by the way, none of these were negative. Okay, so none of these were negative areas because this graph was completely above the x-axis. Okay, now this one. Use the graph below to evaluate the integral from x equals -5 to 11 of f of x. So we're this is f of x here. All right, so let's find, all right, so -5 and then 11 is there. Okay, so we've got part of the graph above the x-axis and part of the graph below the x-axis. So the part above, we're going to want the area of this triangle, and it's going to be a positive area. But below, and maybe, guys, I don't know, it might help to maybe flip your paper. I don't know, it kind of helps me. But so the area below the x-axis, I'll do it in a different color because it's going to be negative, is this. Okay. So we want the sum of these areas here. And you know the area of a triangle, okay? It's 1/2 base times height. So the triangle is 1/2 base times height. The base is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the height, 6, also 6. All right, so that's a positive area. But then below here, this area is going to be negative. So we're going to be subtracting this area, this pink area. So I'll go minus, and then we'll find this pink area. And guys, you look at it and, you know, the shape that this pink area makes, I don't know a formula for those shapes. I don't even know like what they're called. But I see that this, basically we've got a semicircle inside of a rectangle here. Okay, you could look at it that way. So we've got like this rectangle and we've got this semicircle inside of it. All right, so that would be like the radius of it. So if you get the area of the rectangle and subtract from it the area of the semicircle, then you'll have the pink parts which are left over. Okay, so for the rectangle, the base is 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's going to be 10. Okay, because the radius of the circle is 10 or 5. The radius of the circle is 5, and this would be a diameter. Okay, so, or you could just count. So the rectangle is, the base is 10, the height is 5. Okay, so the height is the same as the radius of the circle. And then we're going to subtract the semicircle, pi r squared, but it's a semicircle, so over 2. And then the radius is 5. Okay, and I'll get a decimal for this one. So we've got the integral equals minus 50 minus 25 pi over 2. Okay. It's 7.2699. All right, you want at least 3 decimal places when you're rounding on the AP test. Okay, guys, so there's that. And the practice is on Delta Math.